guys, welcome to the Book Babes.
Hey, so basically what we're about is we will be reviewing a whole bunch of different books, and we'll just, our purpose is to hopefully get people involved with reading more, and that's basically it.
Yeah. So my name is Hannah.
And I'm Michaela, and we met actually while I was dating my husband. Our husbands are twin brothers. So it was mine and my husband's first date, and we met, and we've been best friends ever since.
Exactly. So we met in Utah. I'm originally from Utah. My husband and I now live on Oahu, Hawaii.
And I still live in Utah, so nothing too interesting there. All right, so we figured that for this first video, if we end up getting followers, we figured that people would want to get to know us a little bit better. So we have some questions that we've decided to ask each other, and then we'll answer them as well. But the first question is, where do we work? So I work at an elementary school as a Title I aide and as a recess lady, so pretty fun.
I also work at an elementary school. I teach special education children one-on-one. So yeah, very similar what we do. It's pretty much the same thing.
Basically.
Yeah. Okay, second question. If you could live anywhere, where would it be? I thought about this for a long time, and then I was like, you know what sounds good? Is living deep in the wilderness in a log cabin with no neighbors. So that's what I decided.
And honestly, I too thought about this, and I just love Utah, so I would definitely live in Utah. But like Hannah said, we're very similar, by the way, like very similar. So like she said, I would definitely live in Utah because it has a little bit of everything, and I would live in the mountains somewhere, just someplace nice and small and remote with a lot of land.
Yeah.
What is your dream vacation? I feel like I don't even need to ask you that because I feel like I know in my heart of hearts because I think it's the same.
I tried so hard to think of something else. I was like, come on, Hannah. You want to go to Paris? No, it's Disneyland.
I put the same thing right there.
Disneyland. I wasn't even brave enough to put like Disneyland Paris. I just put Disneyland.
Yep.
California Disneyland. That's all I need.
Yes.
Okay. What is your favorite animal? My favorite animal is an otter. I don't know why. They're just so cute. Like, they're so cute.
Every time I see an otter, I automatically think, oh, I need to send this to Hannah. Oh, Hannah would love this. And Carson has had to tell me a couple times, like, no, hun, she's good. She has enough. My favorite animal is an elephant, and it's so much so my favorite animal that I have a tattoo on my ankle of an elephant. I just love them. They're like huge dogs, honestly. That's how I feel they are. And they're just cute. And I love their floppy ears. But fun fact, I do not like Dumbo. Dumbo terrifies me. It freaks me out. I don't know why. Do not like that.
It scares you?
Yes! And it's so sad. Like, they're just rude to this poor baby elephant just because its ears are huge.
It's a very sad movie. It is sad.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I avoid it like the plague. What was your first job? Oh,
Go ahead.
my my first job, I was a janitor. Yes, I was a janitor at, surprisingly, an elementary school. It was the elementary school I went to, and I got the job because my brother worked there, my older brother, and he was still in high school as well, so I just worked there.
Nice. My first job, I worked at the funnel cake stand in Lagoon Amusement Park in Farmington, Utah. I made funnel cake. That's what I did.
And is that where you met Ryan? Or you guys
No.
started dating?
No. Ryan and I met when I was a sophomore, and we moved to West Point, Utah, and we were in the same ward.
Oh, fun.
That's how we met. And then they split the ward, and Ryan moved, and then senior year, we started dating. So, yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
I thought you guys met at Lagoon for some reason.
We worked together at Lagoon, but we were already dating at that time. We did Frightmares together, though. So,
Oh, that's fun.
yeah, that was fun. We got to do that together.
Yes. Just so you guys know, Frightmares is like the Halloween edition of Lagoon, and used to terrify me as a child, but it's really good.
I wasn't one of we weren't the scary ones. I was Little Red Riding Hood in the children's walkthrough. So I got to dress up as Little Red Riding Hood and hand candy out to little kids. And Ryan was usually the race car driver. So, yeah, that's what we did.
Okay. Yeah, so if you guys come to Utah after this whole pandemic thing, go to Lagoon. It's fun. It's way fun.
It's really fun. Okay, what music do you listen to? I listen to exclusively Broadway musicals. Like, I tried to lie and broaden it, and I was like, I listen to cool music too, but I don't. I listen to musicals, and that's all. If it's not a musical, it's probably Disney music, so that's it. That's all I listen to.
I listen to a wide range of things. I don't really listen to rap. It's just not my thing, but like I respect it and I get it, if that makes sense. And like I don't not like it. It's just not my thing. But I also listen to musicals. I really listen to everything. And then I'll try and talk to Hannah about music. And I'm like, I have to like see, oh wait, is it a musical or Disney? And then usually if it's not, I'm like, oh, well, it's a good song. Listen to it.
Yes, there is good music out there. I grew up with musicals. That's like all my mom listens to. So I got musicals from my mom, and then I got like 80s rock from my dad. So I have this weird like musicals, but then I also have Queen and Depeche Mode and Erasure, and like, so it's kind of weird. I got that little bit of my like 80s rock dad in there too. So yeah.
Yeah, I listen to everything. Like I can be listening to musicals 1 minute and then Dirty Heads the next minute, and it's like hardcore. Like their song Medusa, it's out there. It is pretty hard stuff, at least for me. And then people are like, oh, okay. What are your hobbies? I don't know. I just kind of do a little bit of everything and hope I'm okay at it because, I do whatever feels like I want to do, I guess. I don't know. That made no sense, but I just do whatever I'm feeling.
Yeah. I got really into resin. That's been my favorite thing that I'm doing is resin. I got really into it. I made a lot of stuff. So resin and hand embroidery I got really into. And then recently boxing. I'm really enjoying boxing. It's so out there from everything else I do, but I really like boxing. So I've been doing that lately too.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. I've been running. I guess I've gotten really into like fitness and health just because, yeah, my body does not like me. So we're getting into it. And Sully's little puppy paws are like showing through the door. And I terrified him because I touched it and he like jolted. Anyway. Yeah.
Okay. What is your hidden talent? I tried to come up with one and it took me a long time. And then I came up with the fact that I can read really fast. That's my hidden talent. I can read pretty fast. So it's going to come in handy for this YouTube channel. But I mean, I guess it comes in handy for like studying and stuff like that. Because also once I've read something, it doesn't leave my head. Like, comes in handy studying for tests because I can like see the pages in my head. So when I'm trying to remember an answer, I'll like see the page in my head. So it comes in handy for stuff like that. But it's not lucrative talent by any means.
I honestly don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I have been trying to figure out what my hidden talents are, but it's easier said than done. So
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think I'm, and it's not like to get compliments or anything like that, but I truly do not know what my own talents are, hidden or not. Like, I do not know. And I mean, I don't know. I just kind of am here and trying to figure things out. So that's where we're at with that one.
That works.
Um, so with this whole thing, what are your goals and intentions for this whole thing? I know I kind of covered it at the beginning of what our collective goal is, but what is Hannah Buddy's goal?
So one of the things I was really excited about with this is getting to share some of the books I've read because I read so many and then I don't know anybody else who's read those books. So I don't have anybody to like talk to. And there's so many books that I would love to like talk to people about. So using this as a platform to share books that I really love and highlighting like super talented authors who deserve way more credit than they get. I think that's kind of what I want to get out of this. Yeah.
That's a really good goal. Side note, if you see my eyes going that way, it's because our screens are split, so I'm looking at Hannah while we talk.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like not looking directly at the camera. Anyway, yeah, that's a really good goal. Honestly, mine, I'm just trying to read a little bit more and broaden my own horizons. And plus, I feel like a lot of people go to YouTube for reviews. Like, that's what YouTube's known for, are its reviews. And I feel like not enough people review books. And if they do review books, they're just the mainstream ones. So it would be nice for people who like don't necessarily like gear towards that to have broader reviews and just to get like people interested in reading.
Yeah, and there are so many books out there that they don't get like super popular.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've all heard of Harry Potter. We've all heard of the Hunger Games and stuff like that. And they're amazing books, but there's other really good books out there that don't get the credit they deserve. So, yeah.
Yes. Well, and too, like, guys, reading is so important. It is so important. Like, at any age, it's important to read. Um, and especially where both of us are in like elementary education, and that's literally what we're both getting our degree in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Working
so
on
like, yes, working on it. It's rough. But like just for elementary kids like specifically, it is so important for them to have an environment where reading is what's the word I'm looking for? Where it's prominent, right? Is that a good word for it?
Yes, that's a good word for it.
But
Yes,
anyway,
exactly.
long rant from me.
Okay. Okay, now we're into our book questions, which I got super excited about. So I put some like serious thought into these. Okay, so who is your all-time favorite book character? Mine is Persephone from, I have the book, Stacy Rourke, Pursuing Madness. This is actually the third book in her series. The first one is Rise of the Sea Witch, and yeah, I have always loved Persephone in like Greek mythology and all of that, and I feel like she really took the character and just added even more to it. Like, it was very well written and it was wonderfully done. So that's my favorite.
Honestly, when it comes to a lot of things I do, it does depend on my mood. And like honestly, I feel so bad. All of these questions, well, the majority of these questions, well, anyway, a lot of it does just depend on my mood because I read things differently and do things differently. Again, for the 50th time, depending on my mood. So as of right now, I am in love with Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice. He is so sassy, but like just so sweet, and he's very sarcastic. Like just some of the conversations he has with some of the other characters, it's just like he's just a little sass, and I love it. So he's my favorite right now. How no? What draws you to a book?
Mine is probably cover art. Like, because I mean it's the first thing you see, and I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but when I'm scrolling through, like looking at books on my Kindle, that's the first thing that draws my eyes. So if you have like gorgeous cover art or just really like intriguing looking cover art, that makes me click on it, and then I'll read like the byline and the little summary, and then I'll read the book.
Yeah. So my mood definitely, again, plays a huge role into it. But I think titles, like if it's a very catchy title, then it gets me interested into the cover art, which then gets me interested into everything else. So it all like it's in the name.
I agree.
Yes.
Okay. What is your favorite book cover? So mine, I downloaded again so I could show you. Mine is Daughters of the Lake by Wendy Webb. And it is just, this is one I downloaded because of the cover art, because I think it's just the most gorgeous cover art I've ever seen. Like, and it's like drawn, like it's gorgeous and it's really well done, and it was really intriguing. So I really like that one. Yeah.
If you guys can guess it, it's my mood. I would have to say right now, and a lot of times, anything that just is different if that makes sense. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It just, my mood plays a huge factor into that. And so, like, some days I can really like The Great Gatsby cover art. And then other days I'm like, yeah, it's good, but not feeling it. So, my mood. About how many books do you read a month? Or, yeah, a month.
Month. So like I said, I read a lot. So it depends really on the month. Like obviously, I read a lot more books like during quarantine than I usually do. So I just took an average. I use Goodreads, which I really enjoy. And it has a function where like it connects with your Amazon Kindle. And so when you finish a book, it posts it to your Goodreads. So it tells you how many books you've read and like when you finished it. So I'm using that to keep track of how many books I've read this year. So on average, I read 16 and a half books a month. So yeah, that's how many this year on average. I've read 16 and a half books a month. Some months I read less. Quarantine, I was probably finishing, I know in April, when we very first started quarantine, because I work in a school, so I didn't have a job, obviously, because schools were closed. I got really into this series, and I finished all 3 series books in a day because it was so good. Like, I could not put it down. So, yeah.
Oh, and we should mention that Hannah's goal by the end of December, right? By December 31st?
My New Year's resolution was to read 150 books. And I'm at 116, so I'll finish it. It won't be hard. I'll finish it. Yeah.
Okay, so like this is gonna sound really pitiful, but I read 2 books a month. So this is definitely we've talked about this one other time, but we're going to be reading a total of 4 books each. And so 2 books on average for me to read. I like am going to need to step up my game, but I thought it would be a fun challenge because I definitely am trying to learn to take time for myself and find something I'm really, really interested in. Yeah, so I read 2 books a month.
That's okay.
So 4 books is going to be very interesting, and I'm excited to again push myself, and yeah, that's pretty excited.
Okay, do you want to do the next one?
Oh, is it?
Oh no, this one's me. I'm just kidding. It's me. Okay. Have you ever had a crush on a book character?
I feel like duh is the answer.
Yeah, definitely. So many. All of them, pretty much. I mean, yeah.
I would agree, honestly, but again, I'm in like the Pride and Prejudice mood, so Darcy all the way, Mr. Darcy. My friend has a shirt that says I heart Mr. Darcy on it. I want it so bad. So bad.
Definitely.
But okay, so since that question, has there ever been a character where you literally cannot stand that character? Like you skip what they say because you cannot stand them?
Yes. Okay. So, some people out there are not going to like what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it, okay? Was it Eclipse? I think Eclipse of the Twilight series has these chapters that are from Jacob's point of view, and I have never read them. Never. I've read the entire series all the way through 4 or 5 times. I was obsessed with it, like every teenage girl was. Like, I remember my friend Tyler, we went to Walmart at midnight for like the release of Breaking Dawn so that we could get books at midnight. We were obsessed with it, but every time I've reread it, when I reread Eclipse, I cannot read Jacob's chapters. I just can't. He bothers me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, people. I'm so sorry. Don't roast me, but I really don't like him. I never liked him. His intentions were always selfish, and I just never liked him. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
So, I'm trying to think. Honestly, there was a book I didn't like, so I would skip over like what some of the characters were saying just because I was like, this is so like, why would they say that? It's not, this is ridiculous. And that was the barcode tattoo. I've told you my, like, I really like that book because it had a really good idea behind it. And like, I think it could have been executed so well, but it wasn't. And so the first time I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And then I got to that last chapter and all of the characters' personalities changed. All of like everything that was going on was just all, they were throwing things in there for the sake of trying to cram everything in to make sense.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like they saved the last chapter to tell you why people were freaking out about some people's barcodes. And it was like, what? Why would you do that? And so honestly, that's just a book I really do not like. And the characters bother me now because the main character is just like, oh, why is this happening? At least that's her voice in my head. And I can't do it. I cannot do it.
No.
Yes. Maybe I'll read it again. Maybe it's been a few years, so maybe I'll read it and I'll be like, okay, fine. I don't know. I don't know. We'll let you know in the future. What are some of your favorite quotes from a book?
Okay, so this one took me the longest time to decide because there's so many. But I went through all the quotes that I have highlighted on like my Kindle, and I chose 2. They are from The Princess Saves Herself in this one by Amanda Lovelace. She has 3, they're books of poetry. She has 3. So she has The Princess Saves Herself in this one. The Mermaid Gets Her Voice Back in this one, something like that. And The Witch Doesn't Burn in this one. And they're books of poetry, but they're like super empowering. Like they're about really tough subjects like abuse and like self-esteem and eating disorders and stuff like that. So they're about really tough subjects, but she talks about it in a way that is super empowering. So like these are the 2 I chose. Somehow my soul knew your soul before we ever had the chance to meet. It was like coming home after a long, long day. So I really liked that one. And then this one. A world where all human beings are taken care of shouldn't be called a revolutionary way of life, and yet it is. So they're like super empowering, and they're kind of tough to read, and they could be like triggering to some people, but I know some of it definitely was for me. There was sometimes I had to put the book down and like dry my tears so that I could keep reading because I was blind. So, but they're super good. Some of the best quotes come from those. So, yeah, that's mine.
Um, guys, mine is basic. I love, love, love Harry Potter. Like,
Yes.
and I know that's basic, I know that's mainstream, I know we're trying to get off that, but guys, okay, I'm gonna be real honest here. Right now, at this point of time, I have not actually read the entire series at all.
What?
Yes, Hannah Buddy. I know, crushing dreams, hopes, just crushed.
We have to fix that.
I know, I want to, but I grew up with them, and like, my brothers read all of them, and I kind of got the gist from watching the shows, which I know shows and movies are completely different. I know that. But I read actually the seventh Harry Potter. That was the first Harry Potter book I've ever read. And
What?
yeah, I know, I started backwards. One of my goals. Okay, so I have my Harry Potter book here. I have read this like a bajillion times, so it is well loved. I promise I take care of my books, but it's literally destroyed. I have
Yeah.
read it so many times, like it is destroyed, and like I promise I take care of my books. I just read it so much. But the quote is, after all this time, and then Snape comes in always, and I literally, even though that's the only book I read, J.K. Rowling's like explains it so beautifully and so enticing that I was hooked. I was hooked. I finished that book in 2 days. Like I was hooked. And literally tears. And I was Team Snape, by the way, just for the record, because you kind of find out that Harry Potter's dad's a douche. So, is that appropriate to say? Probably not. He's not, like, I'm not in love with him. I'm in love with Snape, though. I love him so much. Anyway, so literal tears, like, it was so good. So good. Yeah, I think that's my favorite movie quote. Or
That's a good one.
book quote. Sorry, not movie.
Yeah. Okay. What book do you hope will be a movie someday?
I put oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I put the Matched series. I don't know if that's really the series name, but I put that just because I feel like it's similar to Hunger Games, but super different, if that makes sense. And I feel like it could potentially be really good, and people would like connect to it a little bit because the main character is lost and doesn't know what's going on and feels almost trapped. At least that's how I interpreted it. And then I did select another one, and it was Nicholas Sparks' A Bend in the Road, because that was one of the first like grown-up books I've read that had to do with romance, because that's what Nicholas Sparks does.
Yeah.
And it just was really good. It had really good twists in it, and I just really, and I haven't read it for a couple years, so like, but when I did read it, that is a book I would like to be a movie one day, just to see how it would go.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, they make a lot of Nicholas Sparks books into movies, so I mean, there's a chance.
There's a chance.
So I chose House of Salt and Sorrows by Aaron A. Craig. So I just read this book. Like, I finished it last week, and it was incredible. Like, it was totally not what I was expecting it to be. So it came up on my Kindle because I had just finished like a retelling of The Little Mermaid, and it came up, and the cover is oceany and it's salt and sorrows, and I was like, it's a mermaid book, cool. So I downloaded it, and then I read the little excerpt or like summary thing, and it says that it's a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses, and I was like, oh, that's like my favorite fairy tale that never got turned into a Disney movie or anything. And I was like, this is gonna be great. So I started reading it, and it's the scariest book I've ever read in my whole life. I got like halfway through it, and all the scary stuff starts happening, and I was like, this is not the 12 Dancing Princesses, and this is not the Little Mermaid. What? And it made me stay up late at night. Like, I was terrified. I couldn't sleep. And then I finished it, and I was like, that's the greatest book that I've read in a while. Like, that was amazing. It's just not at all what you expect going into it. And I mean, technically, yes, it is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, but like in the craziest, spookiest way. So I had never heard of this author, Erin A. Craig. I had never heard of her before, and when I looked her up on Kindle, it says that this is the only book that she's written so far. So write more books, please. Hello. If you somehow find this video on YouTube and you're like, hey, that's my name and I wrote that book, hello, please write more books. Oh, please write more books and send them to Hannah, okay? Because I need them. I need them badly. I was so upset that was the only one that she wrote, because that's the first thing I always do. I always go, like, when I find a book I really like, when I finish it, I always go look for the author and look for more books that they wrote. I mean, that's what I did with Wendy Webb, because I read Daughters of the Lake, and then I went and I read all of her other books, and that's how I found The End of Temperance Dare, which we've both read.
I was going to mention that should be like an honorable mention for a book that should be made into a movie.
Oh my gosh. I didn't sleep. I actually did not sleep. Like, her books they're all so spooky in like a good way. And I mean, I like scary books that aren't scary because people are getting like murdered. Like, I don't want to hear about blood and grossness, but spooky is good, but like blood is not. So yeah.
I'm trying to think back. I think that I actually read, I don't know, I don't have a preference. I think I read just about everything, like just with my music. Because there's some books that I find very interesting that do involve a lot of blood and murder and gore.
I do too. So I guess, I don't know.
Are you like a skipper when that part comes? Do you just kind of
I might skip over it? But I mean, one of my favorite books is Psycho. Like, super good. And then recently I got into a bunch of true crime, which for some reason, true crime isn't as scary to me as some horror movies are, but it should be. It should be more scary.
True crime.
Yeah, true crime. And I'm like, that's a weird story. No, that actually happened. But yeah, recently I got into like some true crime and stuff like that, which I've really enjoyed. But yeah, I mean, if they go like describing what the body looks like, I'm like, skip a page and try later. It makes me nauseous. I'm not good with blood. I'm really not.
Yeah. Okay, so I know we do have one more question, but I do want to add one more before we go into that one.
Okay.
What book are you so happy they made into a movie? Because a lot of people are like upset when books get made into movies because they're never going to live up to the movie. But like, or the books, sorry. The movies are never going to live up to the books. But what movie are you so excited they made? No, what books are you so excited and happy and like blessed, if you want to go that far, they made into a movie?
Okay. Do you have yours already? Because I have to look it up to make sure that I get the author right.
Yes, so mine was The Hobbit. Not The Hobbit, but like the whole Lord of the Rings series. I love it so much. Breaks my heart that my husband's not like the biggest fan because I so badly, okay, I've only read like, guys, I'm bad. I've only read like one book from the Hobbit series, and it was because my grandma actually has read the entire collection, and she's like, hey, read this. And so I did, and I loved it, and I was so happy it was turned into a movie, but it was forever ago, so I don't know what one I read. But it is my goal to one day read the entire series, including The Hobbit, obviously, because that's the first book. But like, read all of it, and then watch all of the movies.
That would be fun. Yeah, the boys don't like it. And that it just didn't make, I mean, Star Wars. They're obsessed with Star Wars. And Ryan's favorite movie is Back to the Future. And then
Same.
So I was joking
again,
around
twins.
with Ryan. Yeah, they're the
love
exact
same exact thing.
Exact same thing. So I was like talking to Ryan, and it was super late, and I was tired. And I did a Gollum impression, and he just stared at me. And I was like, hello? And he was like, what's that from? And I was like, I said hobbitses. You don't know what I'm talking about?
My family always, sorry, go ahead.
No, I don't remember what it was. I'm not going to do the impression because it's terrible. Obviously, I'm not good at it. But it was super late, and I was tired, and he said something, and I was like, we hates it. And he was like, what? And I was like, I thought that was a good impression. Sorry. But he like had no idea what I was talking about. And I was like, this is getting awkward and embarrassing now that my Gollum voice is terrible, I know, but still, like.
Well, and you would think that they would be interested whoa, words, sentences, hard. But
it's right up their alley, yeah.
I know it has war. It has crazy things going on. It has like, I don't know. You would think it has action. It keeps going the entire time. And they're not huge readers, which is fine. But
yeah.
But they would at least be interested in the movie because Star Wars.
Yeah,
they're not really that into Harry Potter. Like,
Ryan watched Harry Potter for the first time with me after we were married. First time ever. He was like, I think I saw the first one and that was it. I was like, there's 8 movies. Go sit down. You're not allowed to get up. Just watch them.
And so they have to. That's insane. With Carson, he has to keep like interested in something, but they're so fidgety and so like they get, what's the word I'm looking for? They get very not feisty. Feisty is a bad word, but like not a bad word, but it's a bad use of the word. But they get rowdy. Is that a good one? No, they get, what word am I looking for, Hannah? They get very antsy and very, I literally just used it today because Carson was being this. Anyway, they get very, they can't stay still, and long movies or long anything, they lose their attention other than Back to the Future and Star Wars, which makes zero sense. Zero sense.
But I mean, yeah, Lord of the Rings is like action packed and there's crazy stuff and fights happening all the time. I think if I got him to sit down and watch it, he would appreciate it. But getting him to sit down is a task that I'm not willing to undertake right now. It's so hard.
I tried. I got him sitting down, and then he was like, "Oh, do you want to watch a movie?" And I was like, "Yep." And I just turned it on, and I selected the movie. It was all set up, and I made him think it was his idea. And then he's like, "Okay." And then we sit down halfway through The Hobbit. Yeah, The Hobbit, the first one. He lost it. He was like, "Yeah, I'm done." So I sat there watching an entire thing all by myself. Anyway, that was a rant. But that explains our husbands to a T, I think.
Yep.
Okay, so last question. What is your favorite book?
Okay. This is my favorite book. I talk about it all the time, and pretty much anybody who is ever like, "Hey, what are you reading?" I'm like, read this book. So it is Followed by Frost by Charlie N. Holmberg. She's another one. I read Magic Bitter, Magic Sweet first, and then I went and looked at all the other books she wrote, and I found this one. I mean, you guys can see, I got notes, all kinds of notes. And I think I might have even highlighted in this because I loved it so much. Yeah. Favorite book of all time, Followed by Frost, Charlie N. Holmberg. Also, biggest book crush. Lo. His name is Lo, and I love him dearly. I would die for him. Like, I love him so much. And the way, because I mean, romance in novels is hard because you have to describe it. You know, you can't show the looks in people's eyes and stuff like that. So you have to describe it. And I feel like a lot of authors do it in like a suffocating way. They're like, look, there's so much love. Look at the love. And you're like, yes, we get it. They're in love. And it's kind of annoying. But the romance in this one was so well written that, like, by the time that Smitha, the main character, realizes that she's in love with Lo, she comes to the realization and she's like, hey, I think I'm in love with Lo. And I was like, hey, me too. Like, same. I feel you. So it's just super well written and it's amazing, and I recommend it to everybody on the planet. I don't even care. Like, it doesn't matter what type of books you like reading or anything. Please read this book and then comment and talk to me about it because I want to talk about it because I love it so much. So, okay, your turn.
Okay, guys, I'm going to be basic again. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. So I've always read books like on and off. And I don't know what it is, but this book just like, this was the start of a good friendship with books and with reading. Because fun fact, one of the reasons I love my job so much is as a Title I aide is because I was actually in the Title I department, not department, but program when I was in elementary school because I had a speech impediment and because I was a slower reader. And so I've always had like an on and off relationship with reading, but this is what sparked my love for reading and has continued to spark it, or I guess has kept that spark going, I should say. But it just, I love it so much. Again, J.K. Rowling is She was able to captivate me and truly get to know the characters in literally one book. I mean, it's a pretty thick book, but one book, she was able to captivate my heart. And one of the reasons, here's a truth, one of the reasons I have not read the other books is because I worry that I'm not going to like them, if that makes sense. Like, do you ever read something and you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot read this again because what if my feelings change towards this? And maybe I'm just insane, but I bought an entire new set, and it is my goal to read that by the end of this year. And to read it from the first book all the way through the 7th, just because I love the 7th so much, and that is my favorite book. And this book definitely was the book that made it so I really did love reading, and I didn't think I didn't think that reading was such a chore because it was hard for me growing up. So I always thought, oh, it's just part of my homework. Oh, it's just part of this. So fell in love with it. Favorite book. That's my all-time, like, that's the book. Anyway, sorry, I had a thought pop in my head. Did we ever answer what book we were so happy got turned into a movie?
You did. I just realized that I didn't, because we got talking about Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Yeah, I looked over at my Kindle and I was like, why is that on my screen? And then I realized that I was going to talk about it. Okay, so I guess we'll go back. A book that I am glad they turned into a movie. So it's Inkheart. It's a trilogy, actually, and it was a really big book for me, like, because the main character, Maggie, she loves reading more than anything else, and she doesn't really have friends or anything like that. She just really loves reading. So I felt like I could really relate to that, because, you know, a lot of times in books, the main character is like popular and cool, and I'm not. So, but I really loved reading, so I felt like I could relate to it. And then, so they made a book, not a book, they made a movie of the first book, Inkheart. There's 3 in the series. They made a movie of the first book, and I guess it, like, flopped. So they decided not to do any of the other books. And, I mean, it's a movie of a book, so it doesn't super closely follow it's not exact for what's in the book, but it was huge for me. Like, they have some pretty big name. I think Brendan Fraser, is that his name?
So bad with names.
I think that's his name. I'm sorry if it's not. I'm looking him up. Guess what I just realized? What? So I'm reading the, like, IMDb, trying to find if that is him. You want to know what the main guy's name is?
What?
Mo. His name is Mo. Mo is my dog's name. So.
And while Hannah's looking that up, fun fact, so we both have dogs, and they're both from the same litter, because I convinced my husband to buy a dog. He's freaking adorable. Both of our dogs are adorable, because they're from the same litter. So
the same.
They're the same. Well, except, so they're Australian Shepherd Labrador mixes. Mo has a lot more Labrador in him, and Sully has a lot more Australian Shepherd in him.
Yeah, Mo's a little bigger.
Yes. So
Big.
yeah, oh, he's a lot bigger than Sully, but Sully's fatter somehow. So he likes to sneak treats, guys. If we're being honest, he sneaks food. But anyway, so we thought it was kind of funny because my husband and I showed him this picture of a dog, and he was like, oh my gosh, I fell in love. And we weren't planning on getting a dog, but we have one. And then we decided to buy another one because the owner had to sell them so fast. And he's like, well, whatever I can't sell, like if these don't sell by tomorrow, I have to take them to a pound. And I was like, my heart, I can't do that. And so we bought 2 dogs. And we really hoped that either Ryan or Hannah would take it, or my in-laws would take it. And Ryan and Hannah took Mo.
Yeah.
And so we thought it was kind of cute that the twins have twins. So
We do. Yeah. So, yeah, that's my dog. His name is Mo, but I think I call him pretty much everything but Mo. Like if it has Mo in it, I call him Moby and Morgan Freeman and Mobert. That's his new one, Mobert. Whatever I can come up with that has Mo in it, I call him. But okay, so it has the Inkheart movie has Brendan Fraser as Mo, and I was just reading who they are. Dustfinger, who is my favorite character, is played by Paul Bettany. Do you know who that is?
I do better with pictures.
So Paul Bettany is Vision in the Avenger movies.
Oh.
Yes, I'm 99% sure. Please don't hurt me.
Doesn't he play Paul Bettany? Doesn't he play a character off of A Knight's Tale?
I don't think I've seen that. What's that?
Oh my gosh. I don't know if it is.
I'm reading about him now.
I don't think so.
He's done theater, which is cool. We like that. Oh, hey, A Knight's Tale. It's in his Wikipedia. So
Wikipedia is always
Yes.
reliable.
Yes.
He plays my favorite character. He is hilarious. He just is so fantastic. The one guy who played Joker, who unfortunately passed away, he's in that one too. He's in The Knight's Tale. Anyway, good watch. Recommend it.
So I just realized it's the same person. Yeah, he does the voice of Jarvis in the Iron Man movies, and then he is Vision in the Avengers movies. So same person. It has some pretty big names in it. It flopped for some reason. I don't know why. But I loved those books. Inkheart, again, because we've gotten off subject. So if you've forgotten what we're talking about, it's Inkheart by Cornelia Funk. The whole trilogy is fantastic. Like, my parents have it, and the books look very similar to your Harry Potter book. Like, they are well loved and falling apart because I adore those books. So yeah, that's my answer. Inkheart.
Well, that was a roundabout, and P.S. guys, this will probably happen every single time. We'll try and stick to books strictly, but that's gonna just be so hard. So I don't even think we'll say that we're gonna stick to it. But
We'll try.
yeah, we'll try. It's better to try than not, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought of another question. I know you're probably going to hate me because I'm having all those questions. And these people are going to be like, get to the point. But if you could recommend one book, that's it, to anyone, what would your one book be? I can't
One
answer
book.
that. Yeah, because I haven't even.
One book
One
to every
book. I'm thinking, sorry. I just thought.
Please read this book. Please. I love it so much. Okay. And like, okay. So I have a blog, right? Where I write, I just like kind of talk about books that I like. I don't post to it super often, but I talked about this author, Charlie N. Holmberg, and she shared my post on her page, and she like messaged me and thanked me for it, and it was the best thing that's ever happened to me. I love this woman so much. Her books are amazing, and this one is by far my favorite. And please read this book. Like, she deserves so much recognition because it's so good, and like, I recommend it so highly. You will like this book. I promise. I promise you'll like the book. Please read it. Like, it's so good. I love it. That's my one. There you go.
That's your one. I've read a book by her, right?
Yeah, you read Magic Bitter, Magic Sweet.
Yes, it was a really good book. P.S. If I don't know what book to read, I just go to Hannah and then she suggests it and then I buy it. I go off of blind faith. And so far, so good, has not steered me wrong. I honestly, I'm trying to think. So to that question, I actually don't have an answer because I've read a lot of good books, like a lot of good books. But I don't have just one, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it depends on who I'm talking to. If you're wanting one book I read every single year without fail, it's around Christmas time. It's a book I think everyone needs to read. And another book I wish would become a movie, but like one of those holiday Hallmark movies.
Ooh,
Maybe
yeah.
not even Hallmark. I don't know if Hallmark would pick it up, but it's called Finding Noelle. It's about this guy, and it's set actually in Utah, but it's about this guy in Salt Lake City, Utah, by the way. But it's about this guy who just really loses his way, and then he goes to a coffee shop, and it's an old coffee shop based off of like Star Wars, when it's like Jabba the Hutt or something is what the coffee place is called. And I can't remember the like year it's set, but basically this girl named Macy, she is trying to look for her family because she gets adopted. Her sister, or no, sorry, she's trying to look for her sister. They get split up, and basically it's just about her tale, and obviously the two main characters fall in love, and it's just so cute. And I mean, it talks about like her childhood growing up in a foster home. And was it a foster home or did she actually get adopted? I can't remember. Guys, I read this every year and I can't remember. That's how horrible my memory is. But it's just such a cute book, and I think that everyone would appreciate it. They don't have to necessarily like it, but I think they would appreciate it, and it has some good twists in there. So, and there's a lot of like resolution, if that makes sense. Like, it's just one of those feel goods where you're like, oh, okay, I'm satisfied with how that ended. So it's a good one.
Always good.
Yeah. But anyway, friends, we've talked a lot. You've gotten to know us. Yeah.
Okay, so none of our other videos are going to be this long, I promise. So starting next week, we are going to start our monthly themes. So every month we're going to pick a theme, and we'll be posting every Friday. So the first, probably about three usually, the first 3 weeks of the month, we will be talking about books that we read. We're each going to read a book that goes with our theme for the month, and then we're going to bring it to you guys and talk about it and what we liked and disliked and give you guys a little summary and everything. On the last Friday of the month, we will be holding book club. So for book club, we're going to read the same book. The book will be within our theme as well. We're going to share the book with you guys the month previous. So if you guys want to buy the book, download the book, and read it with us, then you can come to our book club and watch our video with us. Leave your comments in the comment section, and we can all talk about it. So our theme for August is books that made us want to read, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, books we read as kids that kind of got us more into reading. So we will start that next week. If you would like to join us for our book club book is The Babysitter's Club, Claudia and the Phantom Phone Calls. So if you would like to join us, we'll be doing that the last Friday of August. Yeah, super excited to get started, and we see you guys next week.
See you guys. Oh, and then too, if you guys want to leave comments, please leave comments. Yes, but we are trying to keep this a positive experience for all involved, like including the people who are commenting. Like, we don't want any negativity. That's not why we're doing this. But if you do have suggestions for us to become better, please leave them. But be constructive. Like, constructive criticism is key. And two, if you guys have any suggestions for books or any books you want us to review, let us know. But we are so happy to be doing this, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Okay, see you next week. Bye.